foodies, it's Sharon, and welcome to a new series that I'm doing called Food and Femmes, where every Friday I sit down and tell you the story of a badass woman in history, and I pair it with a food that I think matches well with the story. This week, because it's spring and baseball season is in full swing, see what I did there? I'm going to tell you the story of a woman who broke boundaries in the sport of baseball. And what food am I going to pair with it? Hot dogs, of course. My go-to is ballpark franks. I don't know, everybody has their go-to, I think. My dad would put these on the grill growing up, and so it's kind of a nostalgia thing to me, and you go with what you're used to, plus they're good. So I'm gonna go cook one up, and I'll be right back to tell you the story of a woman who broke boundaries in the sport of baseball. I got my hot dog. I am a ketchup, mustard, relish, and onion gal. That's about it. I know there's arguments as to what really should or shouldn't go on a hot dog. I think the only should is it should go in your belly. That's the only rule. I do love me a good hot dog. I always have. When I was a kid, my parents would take us out to like a McDonald's or wherever, and they're like, Sharon, what do you want? And I would always say, hot dog. One time, finally, they found a place where they could take me and get a hot dog. We pull up and they're like, Sharon, what do you want? And I'm like, a hamburger. You know why? Because kids are obnoxious. That's why. Okay, but did you know that hot dogs have been around since 1901? A German immigrant by the name of Chris von der Eye came over, and he was an entrepreneur, and he actually owned a baseball team. He started making these hot dogs that he called Red Hots at the time and selling them at the game in 1901. Fast forward 12 years to 1913, and in Chattanooga, Tennessee, a little girl by the name of Jackie Mitchell is born. Now, Jackie grew up with a family who absolutely loved baseball. I can imagine her going with her dad. I know that I've gone to ball games with my dad since I was real little, and there's nothing like holding on to your dad's hand and walking up that ramp and seeing the baseball field for the first time. It's really incredible, and it's so funny because last summer I was up visiting my parents, and my dad and I went to a Mariners game, and I swear, walking up with my dad gave me that same little girl feeling. And I think a lot of people have kind of some nostalgia around a baseball. So growing up like Jackie did in a family filled with baseball lovers, you can imagine that that was already ingrained in her head. In fact, her dad was a pitcher, minor league baseball pitcher, and he built her a pitching mound in the backyard so that she could practice her pitches. Now, when Jackie was 17 years old, she signed with a minor league team known as the Chattanooga Lookouts. In fact, she was only the second woman ever to sign with a minor league ball team. The first woman to sign a contract to play professional ball, her name was Alta Weiss, and she signed a contract in 1907 to play for an all-male semi-professional team called the Independents. But anyway, back to Jackie. So Jackie signs this contract, and she's a really good pitcher, so much so that it was pretty difficult for anyone to get a hit off of her. She had a low sinking ball that really fooled people. But that isn't the only thing that was happening in baseball. The other thing is that hot dogs had become a staple and synonymous with America's pastime, baseball. Why? Because they were easy to hold while watching a game. They were cheap, which meant they were accessible to everyone. But you know what wasn't accessible to everyone? A hit off of Jackie's arm. And that was proven when the New York Yankees were on a tour, and they stopped in Chattanooga so that they could play a little exhibition game. Now, who was on that team, you might ask? I don't know. Someone by the name of Lou Gehrig, someone by the name of, I think you've heard of Babe Ruth. I'm sure you've heard of these guys. And here's the thing. When they got up to hit against Chattanooga's first pitcher, I mean, they kind of cleaned him out. You know, they were really hitting the ball quite a bit. So what did Chattanooga do? They brought in their ringer. They brought in Jackie. And Jackie struck out not just Lou Gehrig, but she struck out Babe Ruth as well. And with Babe Ruth, she even left him standing there for the strike three. Standing there. He didn't even swing. Just left him standing, watched the ball go right through there. Now you would think what would happen is that Jackie would just really blow up and have this great career in baseball. I mean, she just struck out two of the greatest players. But that's not what happened. Instead, what happened is what typically happens when a woman bruises the fragile ego of a guy. The commissioner of baseball, the first commissioner of baseball, Kenesaw Mountain Landis, went, whoa, 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 whoa. Women cannot play baseball. It's too strenuous for them and they're gonna get hurt. You know, the same women who go into labor for hours upon hours to deliver children, this guy thinks that baseball is far too strenuous of a game for girls to play, for women to play. So what does he do? He makes it illegal for women to play baseball and illegal for any team to sign a contract. Ain't that some baloney? Well, she didn't let it get to her. She still went around and she played quite a few exhibition games. She didn't play for the women's team for the simple reason is she started being a sideshow for them. She started just, instead of getting to play the game that she knew how to play, they started kind of, hey, can you pitch this ball from a galloping horse and things like that. So she said, you know what? I'm kind of done with this. She went to work with her dad, but she also decided, not done playing sports. So she went and played professional golf for a while, and she did quite well. So Jackie may not have had a long career in baseball, but the career that she did really broke barriers for women coming up in the sport. Because if it hadn't been for Jackie signing a contract and playing professional baseball, well then we probably wouldn't have had Nellie Twardzik, who was the first girl to play on an all-boys varsity baseball team. And in fact, she played for them from 1935 to 1937. So all these barriers are being broken up to this day. Then of course we have Monet Davis, who in August of 2014 was the first girl to pitch a winning game in the Little League World Series. In fact, not just pitch a winning game, but she pitched a shutout. And it was all because a 17-year-old girl by the name of Jackie Mitchell started playing baseball and was able to strike out Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth. So all of those barriers were broken today. I'm pretty sure that Monet Davis's friends and families were a little too nervous at that game to eat anything. But did you know that 20 billion hot dogs are eaten by Americans every year, and most of those are at ball games? So the next time you're at a ball game and you see a little girl who's pitching her heart out or playing her heart out or working just as hard as she can, remember that it was Jackie Mitchell who really opened the doors for young girls to be able to play baseball. And also, don't forget, we can also thank that German immigrant, Chris, for inventing this great food of hot dogs. I just love hot dogs. So thank you, Jackie Mitchell, for changing the face of baseball forever and letting us women know that if you work hard, you can accomplish what it is that you set your mind to it. Now, I hope you enjoyed our first episode of Food and Femmes. This is going to be an every Friday thing, but I need your help. Let me know in the comments, what women from history would you like to hear the story about? Now, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss an episode. And I will see you next Friday.